You're looking for a laptop that actually lets you game, edit, and stream without feeling like you're juggling 3 separate machines, right? You want something that stays solid on a desk for hours, won't make you scream at the fans, and feels like it's worth the cash you're about to spend. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The hesitation most of us feel before hitting buy comes from the fact that a gaming laptop can be a huge gamble. You might end up with a shiny shell that looks great on paper but turns out to be a thermal nightmare. Or you could pay a premium for a GPU that never gets fully used because the screen can't keep up. That's why I dug into what the MSI Vector 16HX actually delivers in everyday use, not just the marketing blurbs. This machine sits at the top end of the current gaming laptop tier. A 16-inch QHD Plus panel that can hit 240 Hz, an Intel Core i9-14900HX, an NVIDIA RTX 4080, 32 GB of DDR5, and a 1 TB NVMe SSD. It also packs Thunderbolt 4, MSI's Cooler Boost 5 system, and Windows 11 Pro. Those specs sound like a desktop in a backpack. But the real question is how they translate when you fire up Elden Ring at 1440p, start a Twitch stream, or pull a quick 4K video render between matches. First off, the display. The 16-inch QHD Plus screen is the kind of panel that makes you rethink the 1080p laptops you've used before. At 240 Hz the motion feels buttery smooth, which is a noticeable advantage in fast shooters like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Even when you crank the settings to Ultra, the RTX 4080 can sustain 100+ FPS at this resolution, so you're actually seeing the high refresh rate in practice, not just a spec sheet claim. Color accuracy is decent out of the box. The panel covers a wide sRGB range, making it usable for light photo work or video color grading without a pricey external monitor. The only downside is the brightness. It tops out around 300 nits, which is fine indoors but can struggle in bright rooms or near windows. Thermals are where the Vector 16 shows its engineering chops. MSI's Cooler Boost 5 uses a dual-fan, 7 heat pipe layout that, on paper, sounds overkill. In real life, I ran Cyberpunk 2077 at max settings for an hour straight. The laptop warmed up quickly, but the fans kept the core temperatures under 85 C, and the noise stayed in the 4550 dB range, louder than a normal conversation but not enough to drown out a mic. If you're planning to game in a quiet bedroom, you'll notice the fan spin up, but it never turns into an ear-splitting whine. The trade-off is that under sustained load the chassis does get a bit warm to the touch, especially around the keyboard area, which is something to consider if you tend to rest your palms on the deck for long sessions. Battery life is another practical factor that often gets glossed over in high-end gaming laptop reviews. With a 99 Wh battery, the Vector 16 can push roughly 2 to 3 hours of mixed use, a couple of games at medium settings, some browsing, and a short video edit. That's respectable for a machine with a desktop-class GPU, but it's not something you'd rely on for a full day away from a power outlet. If you need a laptop that can survive a commute or a coffee shop marathon, you'll probably look elsewhere. The charger is a solid 300W unit, so a quick 30-minute top-up can give you another hour of play. Now let's talk about the real-world workflow. Imagine you're a streamer who wants to play Valorant while encoding a 1080p stream at 60 frames per second. The RTX 4080 handles the game and the encoding simultaneously without dropping frames, thanks to its dedicated MEMC encoder. Pair that with the 32 GB of DDR5, and you have plenty of headroom for OBS, a web browser with chat open, and a music playlist. The 1 TB SSD loads games in a flash. Resident Evil Village boots in under 10 seconds and leaves enough space for a decent media library. If you also need to edit a highlight reel after a stream, Premiere Pro runs smoothly, and the Thunderbolt 4 port lets you hook up an external 4K monitor or a fast RAID array without a performance hit. Who should actually consider buying this beast? If you're a serious gamer who refuses to settle for anything less than ultra settings at QHD, or a content creator who needs a portable workstation that can handle 4K rendering on the go, the Vector 16 delivers the performance you need. Its combination of a high refresh display and a top-tier GPU means you won't feel forced to downgrade graphics settings in future titles for years.